Welcome to Theatrum Vitae platform, Theatrum Vitae YouTube channel, and its arts series. Our guests today, a multi-talented family originally from USA and now spread all around the world. Maria Sasha Khan, Nadia Khan, and Julian and Nicholas McKay. Welcome. It's really lovely to have you with us today. We had the pleasure of collaborating in the past, presenting your beautiful piece, The Warrior of Light, which was dedicated to the Russian philosopher and artist, Nikolai Rerich, on the stage of London Coliseum. And now, today, we are meeting in these challenging times when arts in danger, in question, and it is particularly important, therefore, to talk about the importance of the arts in tomorrow's turbulent world. Thank you so much for joining us today. Each of Khan McKay family siblings was born in Montana and from a very young age, 9 to 11, moved from home to study the beautiful art form ballet and to become professional dancers. Having studied with the distinguished Russian ballet teachers and at the Russian ballet institutions, which for years considered to be the very best, Maria Sasha, Nadia, Julian and Nicholas are living their life to the full, dancing, creating, inspiring the world through the arts and being an adorable and very supportive family. It was a pleasure for Theatrum Vitae's platform to host their creation, The Warrior of Light, at London Coliseum a few years ago, where they appeared as a family. Maria Sasha Khan was trained under Lyudmila Markovina at the Kirov Academy of Ballet and under the personal mentorship of Marika Bezobrazova, coach Tenerife and Fontaine, at the Académie de Danse Classique de Princesse Grace in Monte Carlo, where she graduated with the honors. She attended summer courses at the Royal Ballet School, San Francisco Ballet and American Ballet Theatre on scholarship. She was invited by Vladimir Malakhov to join the State Ballet Berlin, where she danced a wide range of classical and contemporary repertoire. Later continued her career with Bavarisches State Ballet in Munich, the English National Ballet of London, and then became the principal dancer of the Yekaterinburg State Ballet, Russia. Along with her performing career, Maria Sasha is the artistic director of the Yellowstone International Arts Festival and Ballet Legacy Masterclass program worldwide. She is a jury member for international ballet competitions, a mentor for non-profit arts organization Youth Arts in Action, brand ambassador for Gaino Minden, and ambassador for London-based charity Save Wild Tigers. Maria Sasha is currently pursuing her master degree at the prestigious Central St. Martin's in London. Nadia Khan was trained at the prestigious Kirov Academy of Ballet in Washington, D.C. under the direction of Oleg Vinogradov. She later moved to New York to study privately with prima ballerina Assoluta Yeva Evdokimova and with the Bolshoi star Masha Mohamedov. She started her career with the Bavarisches State Ballet in Munich, where she danced works from Neumeier, Kranko, Petipa, Balanchine, Ashton and Ray Barra. She was also chosen as part of new creations by Slava Samadorov and Terence Collier. She went on to dance with the Leipzig Ballet and Compagnie Nationale de Danse in Madrid, where she danced William Forsythe's In the Middle Somewhat Elevated, as well as being part of Johann Inge's creation Carmen.
Since 2015, Nadia has been dancing at the Teatro dell'Opera di Roma under the direction of Paris Opera Étoile Eleonora Abagnato, where her repertoire highlights included Swan Lake by Christopher Wheeldon, as well as The Spanish Princess in Benjamin Petch's Swan Lake, Giselle, Don Quixote, William Forsythe's Artifact, Roland Petit's La Chauve-souris, and many others. Since 2019, Nadia has produced and performed with her family at the Yellowstone International Arts Festival in her home Paradise Valley, featuring world-class international artists from around the world. Nicholas Mackay was trained as a ballet dancer at both the prestigious Russian Vaganova Ballet Academy and at the Bolshoi Ballet Academy. He is the youngest non-Russian to ever attend the Bolshoi Ballet Academy. While still a student, he performed with the Mariinsky, Bolshoi and Mikhailovsky ballet companies. At 15, Nicholas launched into the world scene when his photos from Project Palunin, which was performed at Sadler's Wells featuring Sergei Palunin and Natalia Osipova, reached worldwide audience. Continued success followed with photography, directing for Paris Opera, Mariinsky Theatre, Bolshoi Theatre, designer Tatiana Parfenova, the Shanghai Russell James and Victoria's Secret Show, Bloch, Grishko Russia, the Vaganova Ballet Academy, Sabaka Magazine, Esquire China, Time Out Magazine, and many more. At the age of 18, he started, together with his brother Julian, a worldwide production company, Mackay Productions, to merge classical art, music and fashion. Nicholas, along with his brother Julian, is fluent in the Russian language. Julian Mackay was trained at the Bolshoi Ballet Academy in Moscow. Upon graduating, he became the first American to receive a full Russian diploma, having completed both the upper and lower school. While in school, he medaled in 5 consecutive international ballet competitions, including the Prix de Lausanne and gold medals at the Istanbul IBC and YAGP, along with bronze at Sochi Young Ballet of the World and the Beijing International Ballet Competition. At 17, while still in school, he made his professional debut as Siegfried in Swan Lake with the Russian State Ballet. Graduating top of his class, he was hailed as a young Apollo by Russian dance critics, dancing numerous roles on the Bolshoi stage. The same year, Julian joined the Royal Ballet in London as their 2016 Prix de Lausanne prize winner. 8 months later, upon personal invitation from Mikhail Messaret, Mackay joined the Mikhailovsky Theatre in St. Petersburg. At the height of his time at the Mikhailovsky Theatre, he became an international guest artist, being invited to the most prestigious ballet events around the world. In 2020, Julian continued his international career by taking a principal contract with the San Francisco Ballet. Julian has his bachelor degrees as a ballet master and choreographer from the prestigious GITIS University, Russian Institute of Theatre Arts in Moscow. Julian has been represented by IMG Talent Worldwide and is currently with Next Models.
You amazing dancers, you amazing artists, your art beautifully demonstrates the importance of the arts. And it is a really privilege to interview you in our series. So let's start. How do you manage to be so united in spite of differences in your characters and to have such successful collaborations as a family? Maybe I will ask this question, Nadia.
Yeah, I think that actually it's because we're all so different. We all have such different characters that it actually unites us even stronger together. You know, we always say that we're stronger together because, you know, one person with one ideas or, you know, has their certain ideas and, you know, their artistic way of doing things or whatnot. But I think that if you have 4 people who are artistic artistically inclined and have different artistic ideas, it just really comes together, and you can have all these different aspects and a different perspective to, one idea. And I think that when we're all together, we're, much stronger than just one person who has one idea. Not to belittle anybody who has one idea that's a single person, but it adds much more dynamic because we all have something different with our different personalities and experiences to bring to certain projects that we do.
Thank you very much. What is your vision and mission for your creation and wonderful festival you've been organizing for a number of years? And this summer, in spite of everything, when the whole artistic world seems to come to halt, you still managed to do this festival. And of course, it was dedicated to your late beloved father. You all contributing hugely to this festival, but Maria Sasha is the artistic director. Maria Sasha, would you like to talk about the festival?
Yeah, but I would love to. First of all, yeah, it was really an interesting time to put on something like this, and it's been a goal of not just mine but my family's for a while to bring together a high level of arts to contribute to the community and to the world at large. And in this case, specifically to where we're from. So to bring back this international expertise and this experience to our community that we came from. And at the same time, sharing the beautiful things of our community to the wider world. And in this case, it was very unusual circumstances. We were, I think, one of only two in the entire US that managed to hold a live performance within this time. And of course, every day there was changing regulations and all of this. So it was very interesting, let's say, to put it on. But we really, yeah, lots of challenges. But as a family, we were very committed to doing it. As you mentioned, my father did pass away earlier this year, and I know that for him also, he really wanted us to continue to do it, and that helped give us that motivation on top of our desire to do it anyway. And what it started out of was a way to bring together all of our expertise under one platform. So it involves performances of not only international ballet dancers, but also opera singers, Native American fancy dancers from Montana. We had Scottish bagpipers one year, and we also had live musicians. And then on top of that, there's also a youth and educational aspect, because I firmly believe that youth are the next generation of the world, whether that's through arts and culture, whether that's through something else. And beyond that, that the ability of the arts to transform and to inspire does not only happen to those who are interested in pursuing an artistic career. It's also very necessary for those who will pursue science or who want to become a lawyer. The inspiration to your soul is one part of it, but also opening your mind to new ways of approaching ideas and of seeing beauty in the world. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say we really believe that beauty is the way forward. It's a very powerful force. And so whatever we can do to bring that to this world is what we'd like to do. And so we are currently doing that through this platform of the festival. And we're looking forward to next year to planning it. And we had a great success with bringing the dancers that we were able to bring. And it was so wonderful to give them the chance to get on stage, because most dancers, performers, haven't been on stage for over 6 months. At that time, we held it in August. So all of those things combined, it was really special for us to be able to do it. Yeah.
It's a wonderful mission, and bravo to all of you on achieving this festival this year. And I'm sure next year it can be only easier and bigger and more exciting. Well, my next question would be, one of the most important missions of the arts is cultural diplomacy, uniting people all around the world. You've been wonderful cultural ambassadors, and you've been working and moving around the world already for a number of years. You've been studying, you've been working on different stages in Europe, in Russia, especially Nicholas and Julian. Did you feel at times that maybe some frustration when your dreams could not come to life as a result of some political difficulties and tensions between some countries, in this case between USA and Russia? It's quite a challenging question. Maybe I would like Julian to answer this.
I think it's a really good question, because my mentality and kind of the way that I approach life is very much that there's always a possibility. And so even if it's a very difficult road or something that most people don't pursue, I always look at it, there's always a possibility, and it is possible that that could be you that brings those two countries together, or it could be you that makes that happen. And I think that through the experiences that I've had, I've been lucky enough to do that to some extent, in my small way. And I also think that the kind of the future projects that I'm planning are hopefully going to be able to do that even more. And I think that once people see that you have the courage and the strength to just go and try, they themselves are more inspired to try. And over time, relationships get better because more people become closer together.
Fantastic. Beautifully said. And of course, everything what you're doing really demonstrates this very well. And the culture is going to unite countries and of course,
yes,
people
definitely.
in the countries. Thank you very much. Well, your family is known for creating special collaborations between dancers, choreographers, musicians, visual artists, designers, and even a choreography star, as we know. You simply follow Theatrum Vitae's motto, unite the world through the fusion of the arts. Can you describe this process? How is it for you? Is it a collective decision, or some of you taking lead in certain areas? Maybe I would like Nicholas to respond to this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like Nadia said, we all come from, even though we come from the same background, we all have very different characters and a kind of way of looking at things. I'm an extremely visual person, and I translated that from dance into photography. And so for me, I look at everything kind of as a visual whole, and kind of how I can fuse, for instance, dance and photography and light design and, you know, all of these things into one thing. And it's just such an interesting kind of medium to work with as far as dance and movement, because it's kind of a universal language that everything else can be translated onto with kind of a very easy template. And so you're actually quite lucky to be able to work with kind of all these different disciplines and different techniques that you can really easily translate through dance. And I know I've really enjoyed doing that with Julian quite a bit, and with a lot of dancers all over the world. And when we work together as a family on a project, I try to bring that expertise into the picture, for sure.
Fantastic. Well, from this question, we move to the next one, which is related to this one. How important it is for the artist to be more than just a dancer or singer in today's so competitive world? And of course, two of you, Maria Sasha and Nicholas, you've already expanded from being just dancers into artistic management, production, photography, videography. Can you share your feelings on this, Nicholas, Maria Sasha, maybe?
Yes, I mean, to me, it's you know, dancing is, and whatever your main kind of art form is always the most important. But right second is how you present that and how people see that art. And the thing is it, like it's if a tree falls in a forest and no one's there, did it actually fall? And that's kind of like the philosophy that I follow of, like, if no one saw your performance, did you do that performance? And my most important thing is getting that out there to as many people as possible to experience the art that you feel when you're in an audience watching a dancer or an opera singer or an artist paint in their studio. That feeling is completely priceless, and artists can get that kind of reach and feeling and inspiration out to more people if they're more savvy with how they present themselves online and present themselves in general, and kind of keep a general brand around their whole image and their personality. I feel like it'll definitely push art forward.
Fantastic. Maria Sasha, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I think some of my feelings definitely echo what Nicholas just expressed as far as maximizing the potential of the audience that you can reach and therefore the impact that you have through your art form. And by combining that with other forms of, for example, cultural production, I've had an interest and have gone into as well now cultural production and artistic management, being the artistic director of the festival, as well as a international masterclass program that I run and things like that. And I decided to further my education in that aspect of going to Central St. Martin's in London, and I'm currently finishing my master's degree in arts and cultural enterprise in order to get, also more of a sort of understanding of those aspects of it. And from a young age, I was very interested in how could you reach more people through what your passion is, what you love to do. So I guess that's kind of been the answer, is through exploring different avenues of what you can do from your art form. And the education that you have as a dancer is so multifaceted. You learn so many different skills from what you have to do from a very young age. And I think that if you can find a way, and there's very great ways to translate that into, other things, that's a really interesting and very beneficial thing you can do to move forward as well, because it's a short career. So it's also nice when you can translate that into future projects and things. Yeah.
Your family is giving a beautiful example, actually, how to handle this. So thank you very much for sharing these feelings. How the best is to handle the media attention and ensure the maximum positive impact on you as an artist and as a human? I would like Julian to answer this question.
Well, I think like what Nicholas was saying before, when we founded our production company, McKay Productions, one of the main goals was to create an entire image for our client. And so it's very important to be genuine with whatever you say in social media and in press, because you can always tell if it's not true. But at the same time, it's very important to curate and share a certain aspect of your personality or your professional life that you want to be accented on. So if you are a dancer, you want to accent that you have a great movement style, that you're very flexible, you are very creative and artistic, and that's the way you live your life. And I think it's really important to also stand for a certain kind of a certain set of morals along the way, because then it doesn't matter what projects you do or what news outlets you work with. You always have a certain narrative of who you are and what you represent. And then those things that you represent and who you are can connect with other people that are that way and other values that they also hold dear to themselves. And so you get a following of people that support you for you and for what you stand for, which I think is really valuable to artists nowadays, because the more you can connect with the audience, the further you can go and the more you can dance, perform, and be creative.
Yeah, I think it's all about integrity, to sum it up kind of in one word, to keep your integrity through, like you were saying, media attention and kind of this whole like fever of what may seem like adoring fans and kind of this whole thing, to focus on that and to still keep your integrity and kind of your values intact is actually going to help you more in the long run, to keep kind of a base of fans and supporters that actually support you for you.
Yeah.
Be yourself and have your values. Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you see as the most challenging thing in being an artist today? Nadia.
I think that one of the most challenging things probably is somehow to stay relevant, because I think it's a little bit to build on what Maria and Nicholas had said. Us, especially as classical, dancers, I think a lot of people see it as sort of an archaic art form, which I think that is something that we're constantly having to fight against. Because I think that there's a way to present it to, younger people and younger audiences that will, invigorate it and show them that it's not just for older people, or that it's not a dying art form, because it's still very much alive. And I think it's extremely important because, as we already said, beauty and art is definitely the way forward in the world for society. If we want to continue to have any type of a society, honestly, especially one that is able to have individuals who are able to express themselves and really just be individuals, and not be all the same. I think it's really important to be able to keep people engaged. So you have to find the way that you are gonna keep people's attention while still keeping the classical thing that you're doing. And then also from there, of course, it's always extremely interesting, as we've said, to do different projects. And like Nicholas is very interested in the visual aspect of it, which also, is very interesting to young people. But I would just say that, I think it's really important that young people know that it's not just, an old stuffy thing. It's something that can be very beautiful and inspiring to everybody of all ages. The amount of people that have come to me that, after performance, and you don't even realize, maybe you're just up there, you do your thing, you're used to it after a while, but that come to you and you realize, oh wow, that one performance really made such a huge difference in that person's life. It can be so healing to so many people. So I think it's important to try and reach everybody.
Of course. What are your artistic aspirations individually and possibly as a family? And I would like each of you to say at least a few words. Maybe some of answers been already answered in previous questions, but still, can you tell me more, each of you? Maybe starting with Nadia and then moving to...
Sorry, I can start, yeah.
Yes.
I would say for me personally, but I guess it is also, with Maria a lot, we work with kids, with children. We actually work a lot with a nonprofit organization, Youth Arts in Action, which is based in Montana, but helps children internationally. Their mission is to inspire, educate, and sponsor. And I think those are really important things to help, keep art alive and keep people interested, and also to help the community and children. And I'm really interested in, working with children. I think that they're our future, as we all know. So I think it's very important to educate them about the arts and get them interested in it at a young age already.
Who is next to answer this question about artistic aspirations?
Yeah, for me, definitely, I mean, it's a bold thing to say, but I say it in pretty much any interview I give, is that I want to move ballet into the 21st century as far as media and how dancers present themselves to the world, whether that's collaborations with musical artists, visual artists, or, collaborations with other kind of disciplines, and just widening ballet to a greater audience, because as Nadia was saying before, it's an extremely interesting art form that I feel personally is very underrated and kind of discounted as being something that's stuffy or elitist, when actually it connects to people on a deeper level than most art forms, in my opinion. And the more people that you can get to connect with this art form, the better. And I feel like you can do that through collaboration and through kind of showing it in a new light. So that's definitely my goal personally.
Thank you. Gillian?
I think for myself, in my professional career as a ballet dancer, there's always more roles you want to dance, and more places you want to go. But I think one of the most exciting things for me is to see this kind of collaborative initiative that we kind of have done as a family, that me and Nicholas work on with our production company, seeing that kind of all come together, and having the possibility to not only bring, my best friend to a gala I'm producing in Japan, but to see a young child go through ballet school, know that they're talented, and then give them that one opportunity that they need to take the next step. Because I know that those exact opportunities were given to me, and that's where I ended up where I was. And I want to be able to pass that on to the next generation.
It's fantastic that so many of you feel this way, actually, about future generation and about necessity to pass it on. Maria Sasha, what about you?
Well, to add a little bit, So personally, probably partly to echo what Julian said, to continue to grow as an artist and as a performing artist, whether that's the stages that you're performing on and the roles, that you're developing, or new creations, because that, as on a personal level, that does really feed your soul. And I think that's probably echoed in almost every artist in the world right now, just because of the lack of performance opportunities. And then on a family level, I would probably add that there's something to be said for trying to leave whatever physical legacy you can, and that's something that then again future generations can access. So whether that's the Warrior of Light piece that you so generously produced for, and that showed on the Colosseum stage, which was great. It was new choreography, new music,
production, family.
That was my last role as a dancer.
True. Well, we produced it, and we presented it
under beautiful memories.
Yeah, it was great. And so that's, for example, something like that it's something completely new, but something that was physically produced, and something that could be then passed along, like we were saying, for the next generation, or something that someone else could come along and be inspired by. Or whether that's the festival, again, something that's really physically being done. And I think there's something to be said for that, because further down the line, how do you see what was done before you? How do you understand where you could go from there? And I think that has to be done partly through these physical productions, physical things that are there to help with the legacy of whatever it is you believe in. And I think that's something really powerful. And again, just to see it, to experience it, to understand it, that can really transform, humanity. Sounds very lofty, but I really do believe that.
Fantastic. This is actually very, very powerful and very meaningful. You partially answered my next question, which is which new solutions for the arts you see as viable to make earn wider audiences for the arts. But if you would like to add anything, Maria Sasha, or any of you, Nicholas, Gillian, Nadia, I will be very happy to hear that.
I do actually. One thing is to explore new models of cultural production, because even before the COVID pandemic hit, I already was seeing that there are some issues with the traditional models of production, and whether that's through a theater and how they're producing their works or running ballet companies, or through independently run things. I do think that there are new and innovative ways to approach it. One of which, for example, a very specific example, is that our festival is mostly produced outdoors. And of course, it's during summertime, so that's possible. And so that's, for example, one solution to the current crisis is how can you find alternative models of producing within this climate? And I do think that there are ways forward. And I do think that finding creative solutions is the answer. And I also believe that, restrictions, or I forget the exact quote now, but hardship can actually in and of itself produce really amazing creative solutions. So I think if we look at the current landscape from that perspective, it's actually really great. There's a lot of ways that you can move forward in an innovative way that we might not have found in another circumstances. Yeah.
And we're discovering them now.
Yeah.
Shall we move
I definitely agree. I definitely agree with Maria on that. I just to add quickly, I think one of the most exciting things is going to be to see kind of what comes out of this this kind of world that we live in now. Because in terms of innovation, now is the time when those amazing companies and productions come together and build something that's going to be the next kind of era of our industry. And I think it's going to be very exciting to see those people that have the ideas now, how they're going to implement them, because they will be more successful than during a time when everything is okay and everything is easy to do, because they'll be more robust.
Exactly. Well, few more questions for today. How do you see the future of the arts in this now challenging and turbulent world? I know the question is very, very harsh and very, very large. And of course, we already exchanged some ideas, but anything you would like to add, please do. Maybe any of you, Maria Sasha, would you like to start? Nadia would like to say something.
I think that for the arts to continue to go forward, especially in the atmosphere of a theater, respect of the, dancing. I would say that I think theaters need to find a new way of doing things, which is, as Maria kind of mentioned before, because I think that it will be forced out of necessity to find new ways to go forward. I just hope that, enough theaters are adventurous enough to try and figure out what those ways to go forward are, because otherwise we are in a very, very difficult time, and it is a little bit scary, I have to say, when you see something that is, has history of hundreds and hundreds of years, and you realize that it could all just go away in a second, and that it's actually so fragile, something that has such a large history. And that's kind of scary, actually. So I think it's really important that, artists and people in theaters are very aware of that and really fight to try and keep that alive and try and find solutions for that,
Definitely. Maria Sasha?
I agree. Yeah, I don't think I have much to add. I think that there are ways forward, but I think it will take courage and a bit of bravery to go after them.
Yeah, I mean, I think just personally working with, I actually started working with a lot of different theaters and organizations such as YGP and a lot of brands like Block and kind of these big dance kind of platforms during this time. And definitely what I've learned and what I've been kind of really pushing on them is that you have to focus on individual special projects, to be more specific, kind of smaller, more contained artistic bodies of work that you can fully produce and support in-house, and hiring younger, more innovative talent to kind of produce those ideas is definitely the way to go during this time, because with these kind of new restrictions and kind of new atmosphere that we have, you have to work in a new way, and with people that understand how to work in this new way already before we had these restrictions. So yeah, I mean, definitely focusing on special projects is the way to go, and kind of going with a new approach of kind of a younger talent, I would say.
I think as well, what I would add to that is that this doesn't necessarily even apply to theaters, it applies to businesses in general. But when things are passable, you don't have to innovate or change. And a lot of the times when companies grow to a certain level and they're big enough, they actually really stay in their ways. They don't like to change that much. They don't like to be flexible. And I think nowadays the companies, especially the ballet companies that will succeed and will stay around, will be the ones that are flexible enough to not only hire the young talent, like Nicholas is saying, and bring in maybe new ideas and new creatives, because that's the only way to survive, but also realize that maybe the structure of how they were working before is something that they should change in general, not only just for this time frame. Because a lot of theaters and arts organizations weren't necessarily doing great before this pandemic started. And so having this kind of come around at the same time as this kind of innovation and this new kind of wave of kind of, I would say, promotional aspect is possible for classical arts. It's going to be quite interesting to see how that comes to be.
Yeah, I think it might actually end up being, in an interesting way, a good thing for some organizations that will be able to pivot from a spot where they might have been kind of hurting even before this pandemic to coming out on top after, because they had the ability to pivot and kind of create a new structure, like Julian was saying.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the pandemic taught us all something, and I'm sure today, during our beautiful interview, we found some very interesting ideas and solutions as well. And thank you very, very much for sharing all this with us. The last question is taking you from, actually, it will not take you from the artistic world, because you are artistic world, you're artist, and this is your life. But it's a simple and happy question to each of you. What makes you the happiest? It can be anything. It can be just one word.
Oh, I think
a difficult question too.
Well, I think now, being deprived of it so much, just dancing. You
Yes.
know, it's, as I said before, just first of all, it's, you know, for me, that's my soul, that's who I am, you know. So that
You
just,
don't dance, you don't live, you don't breathe. This
it
is
feeds my soul, as cliche as that sounds, it does, you know. And then on top of that, as I said before, the amount of people that you realize you can, you know, touch and help and heal and inspire with what you do. I miss that too, you know, that connection with the audience and feeling like, you know, I can help people somehow, even if it, you know, might not seem like it from an outside thing, you know.
Maria Sasha.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
oh, sorry. For me, it's definitely just in one word, creation. Because when I'm making things and when I feel like I'm creating something out of nothing is when I feel most kind of inspired and the most happy, for sure.
fantastic. When you can feel that the creation of yours is really something
Absolutely.
special, yeah, and comes from just some ideas, and then other people can really appreciate this, and it's beautiful, it's inspiring. Thank you, Gillian.
I think for me as well, like what Nadia said, I'm very lucky that I have a job now where I'm going into the studio every day and I get to do ballet class with other people. And now we've started rehearsals on a new creation. And there's Swan Lake and Don Q coming up. So there's a lot of physical dancing, which makes me really, really happy. And I've realized that even in all of kind of the business projects I pursue, the reason why I pursue them is so that I can either have it so that I dance more, or that the people I know can dance more, or there's more creativity, like Nicholas is saying. So I think it's a mixture of definitely the physical aspect that I love to be tired after a long day's work, and I love to bring new ideas into fruition.
Wonderful. Maria Sasha.
For me, if I had to say one word, I'd probably say beauty. And whether that's the beauty of expressing myself through my art form, or, you know, it has been quite devastating, obviously, having everything shut down. So whether that's finding beauty in nature, for example, and finding beauty in the small things of every day that can bring you happiness, or if you're in a big city, you know, going to this museum and things. I love going to museums. So seeing, you know, these gorgeous paintings and sculptures that were created many, many, many years ago, whenever you can find this spark of beauty in your life, for me, that's brings me a lot of happiness.
Beautiful. Dance, beauty, creation. What can be more inspiring? Thank you so much. Our wonderful speakers today were Maria Sasha Khan, Nadia Khan, Gillian McKay, Nicholas McKay. Thank you so much for being part of the art series. We look forward to working with you very soon, and thank you so much for your dedication to the arts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you all in the next episode of the arts series.
Lots of love.
And lots of love.